Caution comes out once again. Johanna Long stopped right in front of the entrance to pit road coming out of turn number 4. And that's because there was a slow truck in front of her that she was trying to avoid.
Yeah, she was trying to avoid. You see the 7 truck looks like an engine problem for Miguel Paludo. He was really slow on the racetrack. Everybody was going inside and outside of him. He was trying to make his way back down to the bottom so he could come to the garage area. And unfortunately, Johanna at the last second ended up turning her truck around to avoid Miguel.
Tough night for the first-time father.
See him slow right there. This is going in turn 1.
Whoa.
The lap before.
David Starr had some serious issues getting by him, didn't he?
Had to slow down, checked up.
He wants to get to the bottom, but he started right there to go to the bottom. Jeff Agnew was coming along. Oh, look, Ross Chastain got in the back of Johanna Long and turned her around. That's what happened.
We should go inside Mellon 1. That's Mellon 2.
Mellon 2, yeah. Mellon 1 was lost in practice.
Listen, see if we can hear us. There goes his engine laying down, Phil.
It's a vivid example of the sound. Ooh, David Starr did a nice job. Piquet Jr. got in the back of him. Watch this now. When we get down to the other end, that was David Mayhew going by in the 19 truck. There was Jeff Agnew getting by on the inside.
This is inside of Ross Chastain's truck. He gets down in the back of Johanna. He couldn't see up there. He didn't know. He knew there were some issues with the 7 truck, but he couldn't tell where he was.
Yeah, Johanna was slowing down because of the 7 because she was right behind it.
And look at the damage to Mellon too.
A little more damage to the front end of the 66.
A lot more damage to the front end.
And he will head on to pit road. They will take a look and see if they can fix that issue.
How about an Aaron's lucky dog for Clay Rogers?
Gets a lap back. Clay Rogers trying to break into that top 20. Next Wednesday, Dumbest Stuff on Wheels returns with an all-new episode. See the most outrageous and, well, downright stupid situations, crashes, and mishaps ever caught on tape. Don't miss an all-new Dumbest Stuff on Wheels. That's next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Speed. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. It's short track racing from Bristol Motor Speedway. Closing in on the halfway point of this one.
Had a couple guys have words on the track. They're waiting to look like have them in the infield. We saw Elliott Sadler get mad at Kyle Busch, run up and hit him. Kevin Harvick bounced off of a couple of guys. So this is building to a big finish, Rick.
Teammate Ron Hornaday being one of them on the very first lap.
Yeah, I don't think he ran into him on purpose.
He did.
But at a racetrack like this, again, things happen so quickly that there's going to be incidental contact.
Like Ross Chastain, you know, he was way back near the back of the field. All of a sudden he's looking around. He's got trucks spinning in front of him, behind him. He's in the middle of a crash. It's amazing how fast things slip up on you, sneak up on you.
They were ready to go back to green flag racing, but the 73 of Brian Johnson Jr. had problems. They had to push him back into the garage, so they told him to go around one more time. Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. By the 100% reinvented Ford Explorer. Drive one. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. Ray.
Guys, real quickly, just wanted to give you an update. The number 7 Stemco Duraliner Tundra is out for the night. Apparently a problem in the engine, so Miguel Paludo will finish at least 30th tonight. They're out.
And a tough situation. His teammate right now running 7th, Timothy Peters. So a difficult night for Miguel Paludo. Coming out of turn 4, green flag back in the air.
Kevin Harvick would love to wrestle this lead away from Jay White.
Jay's been really solid on the top. Kevin makes a strong run off 2. He's got to clear him there. He won't get it.
He almost cleared him there.
Moves up the racetrack. He takes the top spot away. Here comes Kyle Busch on the inside. Haven't seen a lot of passes made on the inside. And this time, Jason White's able to surge out in front.
What about Kevin Harvick? What an aggressive restart he had.
Oh! Kyle Busch into the wall hard.
Elliott Sadler and Kyle Busch make contact. It's not going to be 4 in a row for Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, right front damage, severe damage, and we got problems in turn number 4. Josh Richards in the 51 is around. The 09 also with problems. That's Brian Silas. No caution.
We stay green.
Those guys all got going in a hurry.
Kyle Busch trying to make his way down the racetrack. He is still slow as we pass the halfway point. Kyle working his way through 3 and 4. Now he ducks down to the bottom of the track, but he stays on the track.
Elliott and Kyle had issues earlier in the race. You remember when Elliott and Kyle got together and Elliott ran up and sort of hit Kyle in the back to let him know he didn't like what he saw.
And there Kyle goes for retaliation. Hits the 24 of Elliott Sadler. Sadler goes around. This time the caution comes out.
Holy cow.
Is it a full moon?
It's Bristol.
That's enough. We don't even need a full moon.
Kyle Busch waited on the racetrack. He goes right back behind the wall, and he'll climb out of that 18 truck. But he waited on the racetrack long enough for Elliott Sadler to come back by. He got his retaliation, spun the 24, and Kyle Busch has parked the 18 behind the wall.
I would think that NASCAR's probably going to tell his guys not to even worry about fixing that truck because we may not let you back out.
Yeah, I think that's about enough is what NASCAR will say about that.
Look at the damage to the 24. The Joe Donette Motorsports second entry tonight.
The 24 truck didn't hit anything with the front end, Phil. He has that damage on the left rear. I don't think that'll really hurt that truck much. He gets to pit road, gets him some tires. His strategy will be a little bit different than some of the other guys. This isn't over, Rick. He could still have a shot at winning this thing.
Started on the pole. Take a look at what just took place.
This is the initial incident right here. See Elliott right up against the wall. Kyle came up the racetrack like he wasn't there. Now granted, Elliott didn't have a whole lot of his truck there, but he was making the move on the outside, had momentum on the outside.
Well, they had issues earlier. If Elliott Sadler hadn't been roughed up by Kyle earlier, he would have probably let him have that bit of space. But they had issues earlier, and Elliott said, you're not taking it from me again.
There it is right there. You see Elliott had committed to the high side. He had a little bit of momentum on Kyle Busch. If Kyle hadn't moved up, Elliott probably would have went on by him, but there was the contact. There it is, and there's another view of it right there.
We saw Kevin Harvick do basically that same thing to Jason White on the restart. He crowded him up off the corner. Not as bad as Kyle tried to crowd up Elliott, but he did crowd him up.
Riding along with Kyle, this is what happens. Into the wall.
I think that's a situation where he thought he was clear. He came off that corner like he was clear.
And this is the retaliation. Elliott Sadler tries to go by. Kyle Busch speeds up, clips him in the left rear, spins him around,
and then hits him in the left rear again.
Yeah, we're really fortunate that nobody else was involved, and that's the problem when you're going to
look at James.
You're going to take matters in your own hand. There was a guy on the inside, the 31, that's battling for this championship. If he gets caught up in it, then that's residual that shouldn't have happened.
Watch, he spins him around, but it looks like he even goes after him again and tries to clobber the left rear of that truck.
The hits just keep coming for the driver of the 18. He lost his license earlier this week for the speeding issue he had back in North Carolina. Now he has this issue on the racetrack at Bristol, trying to go for 6 in a row, 6 wins in NASCAR's top 3 divisions.
Well, the preliminary bout we had was Jones and Crump.
Yeah,
so
that was the undercard.
That was the undercard.
The main event.
This is the main event, I would say. Here is the 18 of Kyle Busch and the 24 of Elliott Sadler. Elliott's still on the racetrack,
right,
still with a reasonable chance at winning this race. It doesn't appear that his damage is too severe. He's going to have to come to pit road, get that rear tailgate tied up there.
And he's going to need some tires.
So he makes his way onto pit road now. Let's go down trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, they are going to fix this Dollar General Tundra for Kyle Busch to get him back out there. Not sure why. I guess for the owner's points, they have to put a spindle on the right front, and they do have some fender damage here in the left front that they hope to fix. But it appears like once they get that spindle replaced and an upper front control arm, they should be ready to go back to the track. So Kyle not getting out of his truck, and they are planning to return to try to acquire some more points.
And guys, we called it up here that Kyle thought he probably had Elliott cleared there. Spotters are pretty important at this racetrack. Does a spotter say you're clear, you go up, you get hit, and then all of a sudden a spotter's almost got to cover his behind and say, yeah, he came up, got you, and that's why there's retaliation.
Well, you have such a great relationship usually from driver to spotter. Those guys are best buddies most of the time. They trust each other immensely. If the spotter did say clear and he turned and Kyle turned right into the wall, you would think that Kyle would say to the spotter, was I clear? And maybe the answer was, I thought you were, but obviously he wasn't.
And
so
he didn't feel like
but you've got a driver like Kyle Busch. I'm almost assuming that he clears himself a lot of the times. Most of the top drivers, you know, the spotter's there to help, but generally they have a feel about what they're doing, and they can feel if they've got that guy cleared, and they know the momentum they've had. So he might have assumed that he had more of Elliott behind him than he did and tried to crowd him up, and it didn't work.
And this plays big into our owner points right now. Delana Harvick, the owner of the 2, driven by Kevin Harvick. The 18, the owner, Kyle Busch, driven by Kyle Busch. Coming in dead even. They were tied for the lead in owner points, and that's a big thing to accomplish. Kyle Busch coming into the series a year ago won his first ever owner championship in the Truck Series.
And last week at Michigan, Kyle had issues. That's why this thing was tied up. He had a huge lead a few races ago, and Kevin's come back.
And here comes Kevin on the outside. He gets the restart he wanted. Jason White on the inside drops back to second.
Yeah, Kevin wasn't going to let Jason White do to him what he did to Jason White. By crowding him a little bit, Kevin got that great jump.
Big run by the 62 of Brendan Gaughan, running in the 3rd spot right now. Here comes Todd Bodine in the 5. He's making his pass around the 31 of James Buescher. Bodine up to 4th.
Remember, we talk about Todd Bodine all the time. Never had won on a short track, but he's finished second 3 times here, Michael.
Timothy Peters on the outside of Parker Kligerman. Those 2 run side by side.
This is a short track that thinks it's a super speedway, though, so maybe Todd thinks it is, too.
Peters has cleared the 29 of Parker Kligerman. Now Johnny Sauter going to the outside, takes that spot away from Kligerman as well. Here comes Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 8. Parker Kligerman's realized the bottom of the racetrack isn't working for him.
He's going to move up the racetrack now. See Johnny Sauter trying to make the move on the bottom on the 17 of Timothy Peters. Having a tough way to go there as well.
It's a good battle. Johnny Sauter running the 13th spot. Excuse me, he's moved up inside the top 10. They were battling for position outside the top 10. Both these guys are moving forward.
Around goes Josh Richards once again. Nowhere to go for the 32 of Blake Feast. And as well, Max Pappas caught up in this one. The 4 of Ricky Carmichael also involved.
Tough night.
So Carmichael and Max Pappas involved in an incident earlier. Once again, they're involved in an incident trying to slow down as Josh Richards slides sideways across the track.
Yeah, I think that was in the aftermath of trying to avoid Josh Richards. But look at the Geico Toyota right there for Max Pappas.
It's a good thing he has Geico.
We saw a modified race earlier, and we're starting to see more modified trucks on the racetrack now.
Will Geico cover that?
I think it's fully covered. He has full coverage.
This is the 39 of Ryan Sieg and the 51 of Josh Richards Racing. They make contact going in the corner. Josh tried to stay off the 39.
I think the 39 kind of caused that. He dove down, and Josh was in a bad spot. Then what happens? It looks like maybe
Max was around. And
probably
Ricky
got hit
Carmichael
from behind by another
too.
truck.
See the spin up in front. Ross Chastain getting by, doing a nice job avoiding it.
Looked like in the back maybe Ricky Carmichael hit Max Pappas and turned him around as well.
So Ryan Sieg in the 39 involved in this one. The O'Reilly 200 from Bristol Motor Speedway continues after this.